item number. But it says TC, and I thought that's interesting.
That one's yours, TC.
Right.
That's funny. Oh, how pretty.
He was a character.
Huh.
Definitely. He was a character.
Anybody else want to say anything?
Okay, if we could just take a picture, then that'd be great.
I will.
Oh,
Yeah, you
Dennis.
go.
Dennis.
I wish I had brothers and sisters like you guys got to talk to share time with. Because I remember what it's like. It's great. I'm envious of you guys because this is great. This is no place I'd rather be. You know, my aunties are here. Ex-wife is here. We spend time together, and it's just great, you know. And my grandbabies are here. And the thing about it is, you know, a lot of times growing up, my mom would tell me about her brothers. Her sister Nancy, Stella. She'd tell me about the whole family. It wasn't easy for them when they, you know, when they came over here. It was hard for them. But you know, we can't pick and choose what happens. People come and go. And the thing about that is, I've been talking to everybody today, and nobody's, you know, been better than showing me much love. Much love. And I need that. I need that. It's great. I wish we could, you know, not over someone dying, but I wish we could get together and spend time together, you know. And Randy's talking and stuff. How many times have I seen in my life? Rudy used to come over, but he'd be with my mom and my dad. We'd be out, you know. I didn't get a chance to know people, and it'd be better if we knew each other better. And like I said, I'm envious of that. And you guys, all you gotta do is pick the phone up. Hey, how you doing? I love you. Don't miss your chance to show somebody you love them. You know, even your boys and, you know, your family, they show me much love, much love. You know, they're really disciplined, and I think they're gonna grow up to be great people. And this is something that's great, being here. It isn't something like, oh, I gotta go down the hill and do this. It ain't like that. It ain't like that. Whenever you got time to show your love, my God tells me show it and do it. And it's good to see my aunties, and it's good to see you guys. I'd rather be no place else right now, and I wish we can, you know, continue it. But don't you guys, don't hesitate. Just pick the phone up. TC, hey, how you doing? Andy, I love you. You know, do that. I wish I could say that to my brothers or my sisters. You know, and I do that to Teresa all the time. And not at 1 o'clock in the morning, you know. But we've been through a divorce, and we're better now, and we're better friends. We forgot how to be friends, you know. But we're really good friends now. We spend a lot of time together. And when I get the chance to show my grandbabies, Teresa, my family, my boys, I love them. I do to an extent, because my boys, they use you. But I'm saying that I admire you guys, because you got brothers and sisters you can call and you can talk to, and your mom you can talk to. And that's more than anything else in this world. To me, it's more than anything else. It's just to have family, you know. And if you got family, I'm telling you, everything else in this world will just fit in place for you, you know. And, you know, Sunshine, I've known her for a long time, but we haven't spent time together. I've known her since she was a baby, you know. And I know we got families, I know we got stuff going on, but like I said, it'd be better if we had more time to spend together. So, you know, like I said, I ain't got nothing here today, but much love, much love. This ain't something you buy. This ain't something that just happens in a day, you know. So I want you to know I love you, and we're always here for you. Okay?
Man, you're old.
Thank you, Dennis.
Anyone else? Calvin.
Anyone else? Okay. Go, Cal, go. Give me your plate. Anybody here?
You got you.
Hello. I'm Calvin. My earliest memories of Grandpa are at one of the finest places you could take a child, Chuck E. Cheese's.
Yeah.
He would just get, I remember the big cup of quarters, or the quarters became tokens, I don't know. And you would just hand that to us, say, okay, go about. I'll be sitting here at the pizza table. And we didn't really interact with him at all. We just went and ran amok in Chuck E. Cheese's while he sat at the pizza table, and we'd have pizza with him. And there wasn't much exchange then. But then, as I got older, I gradually kind of talked to him a little bit more. Remember, he was like kind of a weird dude, and my friends were like, oh, like we'd talk about our grandparents. We'd be like, yeah, my grandpa's kind of like a hermit that like lives in the desert, just kind of hangs out, reads a lot. I think that sounds about right. But then when I started talk with him more and more, he'd tell me all these like stories about his past. Sometimes the stories would differ a little bit each time he told them. He'd tell me about living in New Orleans and talked about how much he loved his mother, and he would brag that my mom knew the best Spanish. She taught that to me. It was such good Spanish. She spoke so beautifully, and she was really into makeup. And when we lived in New Orleans, she was only friends with this one other lady, a Cuban lady that worked at the makeup pattern at the department store, Maison Blanche, I think it was called. And he talked about San Antonio and how it was like segregated into 3 parts and their hard life there. And of course the conversation would always, without fail, make its way to Bigfoot. No, Bigfoot's real, man. He'd say that like, man, like they have proof. They have proof, man. Like these shows I watch, like it's not, you can't deny it. And one time, he said he got me a present. He was really excited to show it, just like, hey, so I got you this present. And it's a pair of binoculars. So you can spy on your neighbors. And look for Bigfoot. And, what else is there? After I got back from Spain and got my Spanish to be a little bit better, something I always wanted to work on because I really like to feel Mexican. It's just something I like to do. And part of that was trying to take on the challenge of getting my grandpa to speak Spanish with me. And at first, I just went right into it. I said, "Hola, abuelo, ¿cómo estás?" He just goes, "Who is this?" "It's Calvin." He goes, "What are you doing?" And go try to speak Spanish. You speak Spanish. He goes, "Okay." And he goes, "Yo comí hamburgers." I ate hamburgers, is what he said. And he spoke really slowly and very hesitantly. He was really taken aback with this sudden proposition that I had to make this change in the way we spoke to each other. And then as time went on, it was about a year after, he would just switch right to Spanish with me. He'd go about it as if he was speaking English just fine, because people had their doubts. He speaks Spanish. You don't know who speaks Spanish? I only know if whenever he's speaking Spanish with her. She called him Rodolfito. And no, but he spoke it quite well at the end. And one time, I think it was the last time I saw him, he went, he only likes fine dining. And so the finest dining to be had is in Banning, California. And I think the last time I saw him, we went to the Mexican restaurant there. And we're both sitting there, us with our pale skin, and him with his blue eyes. And the waitress comes over, goes, "How are you all doing today? Can I get you started with some drinks?" And he goes, "No, él habla español." So he insisted that the waitress spoke to us in Spanish. Which was like, finally he got out of like that kind of notion that you should just speak English. He was like openly speaking Spanish with people, which made me really happy. I was like, now I could feel like one of those grandkids that like speak Spanish with their grandparents. And yeah, that was really special for me. And I remember one time I was at the Sweet 16 with Grandma, and we had saw him earlier that day, and like I'm at the party, he like calls me like a bunch of times. I go, oh hi, I'm like, what is it? Like I'm kind of busy right now. He's like, oh, I just want to say how like happy I was seeing you, and he just goes on. And it would have gone on for hours, a conversation, but I had to put the kibosh on it. People were demanding that I got back into the hall and start dancing. Sweet 16. And yeah, knowing him was just such. The conversations that we did have, they'd go on and on, but I really appreciated them, even though I couldn't get many words in. It was more like a monologue than a dialogue, and him just talking to me. But I think that was really more important, was to listen, so I could get to know him better. And yeah, I'm gonna miss him a lot, but the time I did have, I really do cherish, and it's really special. Thanks, Melissa.
Nice, Calvin.
You know, I think it's strange how we all knew different parts of him, but really nobody knew him as a complete, you know, everybody just knew parts of him. Nobody ever really knew a lot about him. No. Because he didn't share a lot. And when he did talk, he talked about nothing. And I think it's because he was lonely. I think he was actually starved to talk to people. And I don't think he really knew how to express himself. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And he was just starting to get it, but it sure took him a hell of a long time to get it. You know. April, go ahead.
It's his fault.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry.
What just happened?
My dad's
I
a
pushed her.
hermit.
Oh.
Okay. And I feel like he didn't know how to express himself either. He loves everybody. Just wish he was here, and I wish he wasn't like that. He doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't even go grocery shopping anymore. He orders it online and has it delivered. Doesn't go out to eat or anything. And I feel so bad for my uncle. You know. But I just wanted to say that he said that that was his favorite uncle, and that he's gonna miss him. And I got so excited every time he came for Thanksgiving because he brought us king-size candy bars and candy. And it was so nice to see my grandma so excited and happy for him, you know, to come. She adored him. And I remember the oatmeal. Eating oatmeal. She's like, how do you stay so thin? He's like, I eat oatmeal every night before bed. But yeah, I was just always so excited when he came because I knew I was going to get a king-size candy bar. But it wasn't just about the candy bar. I love family. I don't care. You're my third cousin. Family's family. And I adored every minute of it. And I'm going to miss him. I was going to try to see him. And then he passed away. I just wish I would have made the time and just done it instead of waited for later.
We all do that.
Dennis is right. Like, don't let that time go by because you can't get it back. And I did that with my grandma. And you know, now I'm just thinking of him, which makes me think of her, and just, you know. I just wanted you guys to know, like, my dad, you know, my dad was his favorite uncle, and I didn't know that, so that was, you know, and I loved hearing him talk about his old motorcycle he used to have and all that. I thought he was the cool uncle, looked like a greaser. But yeah, that's just about all I gotta say. Because now I'm just, you know, a very emotional person. So, thank you.
Mom, do you have anything you want to say? You suffered through the first bit of this.
Decade. First decade. The testament.
We only want to hear positive things. We only want to hear positive things, and you only get 5 minutes.
Did you see the box move?
Talk louder.
Yeah.
I'm like Calvin. I never heard him speak Spanish. He would Spanish. I walked in the door and he says, "What do you want?" Stop. "What do you want?" I said, "I was looking for the kids." "Well, they're not here. Bye." And stopped speaking Spanish. And then as soon as I walked away, he continued his conversation with my uncle. But I'm glad to hear that he spoke to you in Spanish, because he never did to anything else. He was very, very private. And he was going into Zen when we were going through our divorce. He was going into Zen and just meditate. Probably was meditating about me. But there's a lot of negatives, but whatever, I'm not going to go into that. But he was a nice man, I will say that, until maybe we were divorced in 75, and in 66 it was bad from there on. So I hung it up for a while.
What about when you met him? What kind of person was he
Oh
when
my
you met
God.
him?
He was loving. He was great. He was a Marine.
Charming.
He was my father's best friend, because they would drink together, because he was 6 years older than me. So he was okay.
And then what about too, Mom? But don't forget at the end though, how he finally mended his ways
Yes,
with
at the
you,
end.
and you were able to visit him.
He apologized for not being around your kids. He apologized for telling me that nobody would want me with 4 kids. And I married a wonderful person that took me up with my 4 children. Ephraim was only 5 years old. He raised Ephraim. And of course Royce, the other 2, but he was always there for them. And it was Bill and him were very good friends. They became friends, him and Bill. So he did apologize to me for the way he acted. So that I will say. And then I would take some food to his place when the kids couldn't do it. I would take food up to him. Take the kids to visit him. Jonathan, Calvin. Jonathan was going into the Marines, they had a nice conversation. Calvin was going into college, I think. When I first took him, right? And we visited. So, and continued like, had some relationship. I'm sorry that he didn't get to visit them off and take them there. Luke and Eric, they call him Uncle. Because he wasn't that close to them. But that was his choice. So, he had even Israel's children. Except for Joey. Joey. What about Joey?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Joey.
Oh, you like that?
And Gabriel.
That's why her name was Joe.
Your name is Joe?
That was it.
No, but Joey and Jonathan are the same age.
Right.
And he knew them both. But like the kid said, he loved children. Once they got to be 10 years old, forget them. It wasn't the same. He loved little children. All the pictures you see, I don't have them here, but they're all with little babies. He loved little kids. But once they grew up, he had no control over them. So, other than that, he was a nice man. I mean, I married him, I had 4 kids.
Thanks, Mom.
Nancy, anything you can remember?
Oh, I remember a lot.
I
but-
want to hear.
Come on, man. We want to hear this.
Here comes the good stuff.
Tea parties. I want to hear your perspective when you, Nancy. I want to
Tea
hear
parties, come on.
when you
Key part.
when you first met him.
Oh my goodness.
Your impression in his relationship with his brother.
You want to hear it all.
It's a love-hate, okay, from the very beginning. The very first time I saw him, I was 22, and we went to your house, and TC was probably around 2.5, and you were in diapers, and the guys go off, they're gonna go have dinner. So, I thought, okay, that's great. Here comes Rudy, locking the doors. I said, where's David? And he said, oh, he's coming, he's walking. said, Leslie, walk him. He's gonna kill me. What do you mean he's gonna kill you? And he said, I said, no, David wouldn't do that. Here comes David, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. They would all locking the doors. Locking the doors. That was how they would happen. You know, we would go like 6 months and we wouldn't hear from him. And David wouldn't. And David was a really lovely guy. And he had his bad spots. His only bad spot to me was his drink. Otherwise, I'd still be with him. But anyway, that's another story. Then all of a sudden, I think David would call Rudy, or Rudy would call David, and we'd get together again. One other time I remember, we were, I think we were here, or Joe's, or someone. Anyway, the guys were outside and girls. And all of a sudden, David comes in, his ears bleeding. Rudy bit him.
Oh, eerie.
Man, I wish I had this information. Remember when you
Tyson.
your brothers, you're on.
It was a love-hate, but they loved each other. And they had their life together. And it was hard. It was really hard. And they loved their mother. And it was Mamacita. The very first time I met, and this is kind of digressing, but the first time I met Teresa, we were there, it was for Rob's wedding, first wedding. And she was walking at that time. So she was saying something to David, and he was on TV. And she said, David, and you know, she was 5 foot and he's 5'11". And all of a sudden, she kicked him in the shins. I went, oh my goodness. And she said, first you get his attention, and then you talk. And it was, yes, Mamacita. And that was the way it was. She raised those boys by and Ellen, by herself. He said one time he came home, and it was late. And they had the door, and I'm talking about David, not Rudy. But anyway, he moved up to the window and he was going to open the door, and he said, she got him 3 times with a spoon before he could get something. And it was, okay, if they were bad, when you get them his spoon. Okay, well, if he knew then the twist, and you were going to get it. But then, yeah. So the last time I talked to Rudy, it was Ellen would call me and say, can you have my brother call me? Because she couldn't do it. So he would be on the phone, and it was, did you watch Dancing with the Stars last night? It was really good. Who do you think's going to win? So that was his conversation, and then his food.
Was that in Spanish or in English?
Oh, English. I think it's Spanish.
No. Did they speak Spanish to each other? Ellen.
With Rudy, yeah. Yeah.
That was the only time I
She
think they both
liked it.
spoke
He
Spanish.
liked it because she could roll the R's when she said yeah.
Raw.
Yeah. She yeah.
Or something like that. I can't say it.
Yeah. David would never let me teach the kids either. Him teach the kids because he didn't. I don't know.
I think it was their upbringing with the segregation,
I was
trying
going
to
to
fit
say
in.
the Texas,
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
learned was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
The story I heard from him, why he didn't teach us, is because there was no need. There was no need. The only time he needed to speak Spanish in his life was with his mother. There was no other need. So there was no need to speak Spanish, according to him. There was no need.
I think that's what he.
Was it
but I know
60s
from
thing?
his stories, from where he grew up.
Yeah, but that's
it
what he
was
told
very
me.
Segregated, and it was really hard for them to try to fit in, and they really needed to get that English down and not sound like a foreigner.
Yeah.
He wanted to assimilate, and he
Yeah.
didn't, in his circle of influence, he didn't have any friends that spoke Spanish.
Oh.
Who spoke Spanish? Did you have any friends that spoke Spanish?
Nope.
Same here. So I think he really was Spanish.
He said in New Orleans, his friend's parents spoke French, and his mother spoke Spanish. So that's the only time he learned French words is how to greet the parent at the house, his friend's house, and that he would speak it in the house, and that's it. Never outside the house. So only ones he spoke Spanish to was his brother, sister, and mother. That's it. There was no need otherwise. He went to school, an English-speaking school, grew up here. So yeah, there was no need. So he didn't think we needed it either.
That's a
So,
good point. That's a good point. That his ideology was just that.
yeah.
You know
We
what?
didn't need it, but we did need it, right? And then
Yeah,
I'm
what
glad
about
Calvin's
your
fluent.
But at the
Her.
same time, because my mom was light-skinned, and
Yeah.
she would tell me when they were in San Antonio going places, movie theater, swimming, park, wherever it was, they would let her go in. They wouldn't let her brothers go in.
Right.
Oh, really? Really?
because they spoke Spanish.
Right.
Because they were Spanish.
Yeah.
So that could have been one of the reasons he might have wanted to get away from it. But she used to tell me stories how she was always welcome to come in, but they wouldn't let her brothers come in. And that's the way they were treated back then.
Because they didn't want his kids to have a hard time.
Segregation's hard.
Stifles education. It's
Yeah.
prejudice.
But I
But anyway,
I just
the last
imagine them
thing he
speaking
said to me
Spanish
was,
together.
I'm gonna live to be 90. Okay, 87 but 90. And I said, yeah, you're right. And he would laugh.
Yeah.
He always made me laugh.
And he wanted to
And
go.
we laughed at him. He was
Thank you.
ornery, but I loved him. He was a good guy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Randy, I got one more just to speak to his intelligence because I didn't know about it. Because when I was 19 in the army in Germany, it was 1989. It was December, just before we invaded Iraq, and they took us to this building and they said, "You're going to be taught the new Stinger missile, and it's a Generation 3, and it's going to kill all of Saddam Hussein's aircraft, and it's a heat-seeking missile, right? But it's going to be able to decipher between strafing, between the flares, and the actual engine of a MiG." I want to get this training. I can't wait. You know, I go in there and I'm no rank on my collar. I'm in there paying attention to these suits. Two guys in suits. They're just civilians, not just civilians, but they're from America and they happen to work at General Dynamics. They come in there and they give the 3-hour presentation and I'm jazzed. I'm getting this $1 million missile. I got no education and I'm going to go handle a $1 million missile and die on the battlefield in Iraq. But I got a $1 million missile. On the way out, they were getting ready to leave, and I said, "Hey guys, there's a guy named Rudy Candias. He says he works at General Dynamics. Do you know him?" Yeah, we do. And as a matter of fact, he designed the optical system on that Stinger." And I go,
Oh, wow.
"Tell him I said hi." And my dad. And I thought, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We didn't get to shoot.
Did you know that story?
Thank God.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That just speaks to his intelligence. I don't know if anybody. I'm sure somebody here knew that, but we did.
I think
Man,
both
and
guys were very intelligent.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good stuff.
David,
He did that.
David was very intelligent.
Grandma told me, and I called her and I said, Rudy, how far does that missile shoot? Because I was too concerned
Oh, yeah.
about this thing. Him shooting it, is it going to be far enough
Oh, yeah.
for him to run?
No, because the wingman kills you because they see the smoke trail.
Not far enough. That's what he told me,
Yeah,
not far
yes.
enough. You better run fast. I said, yeah, I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I know he was really very proud of that. He spent 20 years working on that with obviously a bunch of other people, and there's a bunch of literature going through his stuff of his work on the Stinger and some other pamphlets that I saw. And you know what's amazing that I didn't know was that he didn't graduate from high school. He took the GED in the military.
Yeah, David also.
And same with David. And the other thing, you know, my last few, one of the last, I don't know how many conversations with him, but he talked a lot about his brother, how much he loved his brother, and how smart his brother was. And how many different things he did. He was a musician and a pilot.
I love them.
He was this crazy guy and
Hypnotizing.
Yeah, hypnotizing. And he was
Oh, he did that too.
Magic show.
yeah, it's really amazing. And those two, I can't even imagine what those two are like as kids.
I know. I did that. Like, whoa.
And so he talked a lot about his brother, and then he told me that the reason that he went in the military was because his brother did.
Yeah.
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 And that was the sole reason that he went. He said, I'm not going to just let my brother go by himself. And he followed after him.
But yet they couldn't get along.
But yet
more
they
than-
couldn't get they were nuts.
Yeah. But
And
they
so,
loved each other.
He did talk a lot about the Stinger and what was my last one?
You didn't share that with anybody, really, right? You had to find it. You had a big.
He talked about it earlier. He did talk to me about it earlier, but he didn't really say a lot about it. I think that those guys,
It was
they get
always
instilled in their
secret.
brain that
It
it was
was
always
also-
top
It was
secret.
always
was
top
classified,
secret.
right. It was
Everything was
classified.
always top secret.
Right.
I mean, good classified.
You know, guys, up to Dennis's point, you know, my dad was, while he was private, he had conversations with me. And one day, he just opened up on me, and he started crying. And he told me all about Uncle David. All about him. every single thing about him
Good, I hope.
and how he missed him. And it was like he was drunk, but I know he wasn't drunk because he wasn't drinking. It was about 10 years ago. And he was like, you know, he was everything I wasn't. He could play ball better than me. He could do a lot of things, but not academically better. But he could do everything better than him. He could do this, a master roller skater, a magician, jujitsu, hypnitizing people,
Took him up on
just
the
all
stage
kinds
in
of
high school.
stuff. But
Pulled
the
his
way he
neck out
came
like
out and
this
told
and
me, it was,
went through.
it's like
Swelling.
he had an epiphany at 70 years old. It wasn't like, you know, it's in other words, it's like, don't wait so long in our lives to do these things to our siblings and our friends and our family, because it becomes too late. And my dad had a lot of that in him, and I always told him when it came to Sunshine, especially when it came to, I told him one time that I gave Sunshine his phone number, and he goes, "What? What do you mean you gave her my phone number?" And I says, "Well, yeah." And he was mad at me for a second. He got mad at me, and I says, "I hope Sunshine calls him, you know." But they were, and because she's him, she didn't.
I sent him a text message one night. I got.
But he don't know how to do. But he doesn't know.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna message my dad."
Yeah, but you got to realize
And
he
then-
didn't know how to use a text.
Right. I sent him a text. I said, "This is Sunshine. I'll call you tomorrow," but
Right.
I never did.
So, in other words, it's just I guess it's just say, you know, don't wait. Don't wait. Life's too short.
My mom.
He waited a long time before he came to a lot of grips in his life. A long time. Even with my mom, the weirdness and the stay offish and all that stuff, it took him until Ephraim was well in his 20s. I was almost 30 when he finally would have a normal conversation with my mom. After all that,
That Sam was taking forever.
yeah, it was just interesting stuff.
But my mom, she used to talk highly. I'm telling you. I never knew too many people that talked that way about her brothers. I'm not putting Raul down. I don't know what Raul does.
He was younger.
But like you said, it ran in the family because Uncle David was like that. He was just in all kind. He was just like magical to us.
Yeah.
But he would always talk about. My mom would always talk about your dad, how intelligent he was, some of the work he did, and the crazy thing about that is that my mom for a while worked for the courts. She learned 7 different languages when she was doing it, probably before she had kids, I don't know. But she always used to talk about your dad. And she would talk about how intelligent he was, and he was, I forgot what company he worked for, you know.
General Dynamics.
Yeah, and she always would say that, you know, how intelligent. And she used the word intelligent, not smart.
Well, they were all really smart. I know whenever I went to see her at the hospital, at the nursing home, she speaks so well. Her choice, her
very well
sentences,